Hello everybody, welcome back to Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We are back from break. When we left our party, they had just explored into the land of the stone men, finding one of those stone men. In having a startling conversation with the individual, Matashtai was able to reach into his mind. But the stone giant seemed incredibly suspicious and accusatory. After much conversation, a peace was made, and friends the party became. But there was still an air of suspicion and the issue of a tricksy demon that seemed to be plaguing the stone giants. So, in order to assist the stone giants, and keep the party safe, the party now awaits the arrival of the giant family so that everyone can be introduced and no one can be squished when they are met in surprising scenarios. So, as you all are waiting there on the edge of this vast pit, you feel the earth begin to shake, begin to tremble beneath you, and you see, walking forward out of the darkness, several immense figures.
All of a sudden, I don't feel so in control of this situation.
You did at one point in time?
They all kind of like walk right up to the base of the pit. And you can see Gravelock, right? Is up here to the north, next to Kuruk, right? There is a feminine stone giant standing next to Gravelock. And then on the southern end, there are two stone giants, one feminine, one masculine. They're both not significantly smaller, right? But they're both smaller than the rest of the stone giants, right? By a couple feet. Gravelock, who is slate-skinned, right? Gray-skinned, has a big black mark on the side of his face.
Oh no, domestic abuse! No!
The shit beat out of him.
This is not okay, Jeremy.
Wait, which one had the mark on him?
The guy that you've been
Gravelock?
talking to. Gravelock,
He
yeah.
got abused.
And the feminine stone giant in the center steps forward, and she kind of like glares at all of you, right? And then her eyes set on Matashtai, and she kind of points at you, and then she points at her head.
Okay. I say, hello.
Not.
My name's Matashtai. You can call me Matt.
I am Spaliosa, and I am in charge here. And then she turns and she kind of like side-eyes Gravelock.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Spaliosa.
I'm not sure.
It's Spaliosaw.
Spaliosa.
Sorry.
That was fucking dumb. Oh my god.
You're fucked up for that.
Based on what Gravelock said, you guys are having some sort of trouble around here.
Trouble Yes, always trouble. How do I know you will not add to it?
Well, at this point, I think all I've got is my word. But hopefully we can use our actions to prove otherwise.
Words, wind,
He says,
nothing
"Supposing you don't."
solid.
Sorry, what'd you say, Jeremy?
She says in response, right? She says, words, wind, nothing solid. And she kind of like... She's almost like all of the stone giants. They're just kind of like standing there. They almost seem one with the ground beneath them. Like none of them, you know, I don't know. None of them have in the kind of like characteristic. You see a bunch of people like standing around scenario. None of them are leaning. None of them are you know, imbalanced. It's like they're rooted to the earth beneath them.
Hmm.
Well, yes, like I said, right now all we have is our word. But we were hoping we could help you. We're looking to become friends.
She kind of like sighs. And she says, "So you have convinced my mate."
If it makes you feel better, he was very hesitant. He
Kind of like side eyes him again. And kind of like realizing the nature of this conversation, she says, in her mind, only to you, she says, "It does."
So he said that y'all are having trouble with some sort of way he described it, mind fog. Where you lose track of time and hear giggles. Does that sound about right?
Something enchants us, bewitches us, steals our minds from us, and laughs when it does. And her eyes kind of narrow at you suspiciously.
Have you noticed any sort of pattern to it? Does it happen to all of you at once? One of you at certain times?
One, maybe two. Never all at once.
Twin spell?
So whatever it is, either is limited in its power or it's...
What's the duration? See if we can suss out the spell.
Yeah, good question.
About
How
7.
long, how long does it usually last?
Hmm.
So I'd like to think that as I'm asking these questions, I'm also kind of conversing with Ezra because he knows magic better than I do. So we'll just assume that he's kind
Again,
of like
I like to
guiding
think
me in
that
his questioning.
every time I'm like taking a pause and like, you know, someone's considering something in a conversation, you're sitting there, you know, like explaining what you're having what the conversation is, right? Like,
Yeah.
Also extremely magical.
What is the effect? Mind fog, do they just forget who they are? Does it change their personality?
so she'll tell you, and I'm
Like
gonna
what happens when you have COVID?
I'm just gonna jump into this from a mechanical standpoint, right? She'll tell you that what it does is it tends to make them very happy, right? Forgetful. It doesn't last long, right? But it's always a big inconvenience.
Is there a object of the happiness? Is there a direction towards which the affections are directed, or Is it just a general upbeat nature?
It's almost a paralyzing euphoria.
So
Right.
akin to hypnotic pattern?
Like, just like a fucking giggle fest. Like, lose your fucking shit.
There
for-
are spells that
Tasha's
forces people
laughter.
Like Tasha's hideous laughter.
Guys, I think it's Tasha's hideous laughter.
Oh shit, maybe it's Tasha's hideous laughter.
Shit, bro, I think I've heard of this spell, and it was made by a mage called Tasha? I think I'm saying that right.
Tal Rasha, I'm pretty sure.
Al Rasha, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't say full words. I say half words at most.
Rosh.
P.
So, you said it kind of just happens whenever, to a couple of you at a time. Have you had any inclination of where it might be coming from? Direction? Anything to lead you anywhere?
Happens where we sleep, happens where we work, happens where we wander, happens on the whim of whatever trickster causes it.
If they want, I could take some time in each of the aforementioned locations to see if I can get a beat on a focus or a source that might be planted there, potentially.
Ezra would like to know if you would like him to go into your locations and check for magic.
Peleosa
Pretty good
just
at that.
like narrow eyes, glares at Ezra. Like,
Also, if it seems to be getting y'all in different locations, it might be moving around invisibly.
Speliosa kind of like. So again, right? I like to think the concept is that you're not just using words; you're using imagery, conceptualized thought, right? Speliosa doesn't seem super familiar with the word invisibility, right? Or invisible. It doesn't seem to like ring like a bell with her, so you have to communicate that to her via the concept, and she is kind of like a little
what a freak.
like taken aback by the idea, like something that is there but cannot be seen. And then she kind of like looks around her, very like paranoid all of a sudden.
I don't want to freak you out. Would you like a demonstration? We can show you what that's like.
You see her eyebrows raise,
God, you are.
and she says, "So you admit to being able to do this?"
Alien magic.
Actually, quite common.
Roll me a persuasion check. Your DC is not high. It's gonna be a 9, but she might take insult with you insinuating that she
Whoa.
should know.
Well, she's probably insulted.
She kind of like, her brow furrows and she looks at you. We are not dumb just because we live here alone.
I didn't say. You just haven't seen it.
Oh.
I've never seen a stone giant before.
She has a new set to her jaw. It definitely feels as if she is a little annoyed with you.
That's fair.
And she says, I do not care about your magic. Just that you can fix this for us.
We're gonna need to look around a bit. Because so far all we've seen is a couple of bears and you guys.
Do
Couple
not
of
approach the bears.
Will not approach the bears.
A little bit of Battlestar Galactica.
He says, they are well kept, but if they smell new prey, it will not be good.
He saw them and had no interest in a fight. So
You say that, and she kind of like, she kind of, she doesn't like that you've been sneaking around.
Kind of just been walking.
I don't know how to answer that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Stairs all come out over there. Not our fault.
With your permission, we'd like to look around more. We've got tools to help us find invisible things. We've got tools to help us determine magic that have been used. May take us a bit to find out what's doing this, but as soon as we find anything, I'll let you know.
Do they want one of them to escort us?
I ask that as well. Would you like someone to walk with us? Sure, we're up to good.
She kind of
I
like
saw
sets
that
her
I'm up to
jaw and she says, "No." And then she kind of like turns and she speaks in giant that Ezra can
Hey.
understand. And she says, "None of the family is to be alone. Always at least two." And then she like just kind of like does the sweeping glare at all of you, right? With the insinuation that to her family that like no one's to be alone in case you guys betray them.
Yep.
Okay. Just one quick clarification as well with this mind fog. You said it's usually a happy feeling, so no one seems to get aggressive during that time, right?
Happily aggressive.
I just so love killing.
I just want to hug you and
Happily
squeeze you
aggressive
until
is
until you die.
exactly how the Joker was when he murdered Jason Todd with a crowbar.
Very true. No.
Oh, goof.
No. She kind of like exclaims, "There definitely doesn't seem to be that type of situation."
All right. Good to know.
Did we get
and
all of their names?
You did not.
We did not. I will ask. Do you care to share the rest of your family's names so we know how to address them? If not, it's perfectly fine. It's cool.
She kind of glares at you, but she gives this kind of like big sigh and shrug, and you know who I am. You have met my mate, our eldest Kurak, our youngest Rhodos, Cydia, and she gestures to the two twinsies. And then she kind of like looks back in a easterly direction, kind of like the way they had come. And she kind of sighs and she says, "Our eldest daughter remains behind. Zorta has been told of you. He will be told again."
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys hearing us out. We'll see what we can do to help you.
She kind of glares, just obviously annoyed directly at you, like she might have determined that she's not sure she likes you, right? The situation she seems to have made peace with, right? But she seems to not like Matashtai the person.
That is totally fine, as long as she doesn't squash me with a stalagmite.
Well, we don't know about that yet.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna head to. Well, what's in the middle of this crater here? Is there anything out there? Is it just empty?
Kurok kind of steps forward, right? And he's like he seems excited to step forward and talk about it. But the other giants are just kind of like, well, I guess. Sorry, let me rephrase that. You say that to Spaliosa, right? And she turns and she mutters. She says in giant, they want to know about the spire. Ezra, you hear that, okay?
That sounds pretty magic-y.
Right? And most of the giants, like Gravelock, Rhodos, Subsidia, they're just kind of like, whatever, right? But Kurok steps forward and he seems kind of like excited, right? And he says, "Oh, yes, the spire. Mother, I can tell them of the spire." And Spaliosa kind of like sighs, almost exasperated, and she points to him and then gestures to you.
I speak into his mind and I say, well,
Ah!
sorry.
Every time.
Very off-putting the first time. Apologize. What can you tell me about the spire?
He yells in giant.
Hello!
He yells in giant. But he thinks it at the same time. So Ezra, you get it, all the giants get it, and Matashtai gets it. He goes, "Strange voice in my head cave! Ah!"
You're really channeling Creed right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is Creed.
So he's excited and taken aback for a moment. And then he's like, the spire. The black spire. It stands in the center of the pits. Up, 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 out of sight.
Same, dude.
But it cannot be touched. No matter how many Umber Hulks I throw against it, its shield does not break. It is formidable. And he's gesturing kind of towards the northeast, further into
The
the pit.
spire has a shield.
Well, I think that's as good a place as any to start our investigation. I think we're gonna maybe check that out, and then we'll probably continue exploring from there.
Ha ha! You say that to him, like in his mind?
I think I'd probably send it to him, but also send it to Spaliosa.
Okay, Speliosa's just kind of like, she nods at the information. Kurok kind of like guffaws back at you, right? Just like, "Puny little man cannot break Spire's shield? Ha 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 ha!"
Well, if I
He's
need
just
strength,
entertained
makes-
by the idea that you're gonna do what he can't.
Now I definitely don't want to do it because then I feel like I'm gonna get squished for proving him wrong.
Look, you're squished if you do, you're squished if you don't at this point. Like,
We'll just kill him. It's fine.
Damn. All right.
Cold,
Well, I
a harsh
think,
mistress.
with
We'll
that,
just kill him.
we're gonna work on fixing this problem for you.
I mean, or we'll die. You know, one way or
I
the
gotta
other.
give a quick nod bow to Spaliosa.
She turns and she addresses the family, and she says in giant Ezra, she says, "Come, we are done with this foolishness. Hopefully they will fall into quicksand and we will be done with them." And they all begin to walk away.
Ezra bows as they leave.
Gravelock looks
When-
like he's gonna go south
Well-
for a second, right as they're leaving, and Spalios kind of like grabs him by the arm and yanks him to the northeast with the rest of them, and shouts,
poor
"I
man.
told you, no one alone!"
Damn it. All right. So
I'll put
Gotta turn back
Gravelock
to the
under
group
house
and say-
arrest. I hope you're happy with yourselves.
Ezra then explains after we're out of earshot what he interpreted the buddy system, as well as them hoping we fall into quicksand, which Ezra takes to imply that there are more than one quicksand trap. Bones, please keep an eye out.
It's over there.
That's keep
I
the
found
10
it.
foot,
So the-
More than one.
It's a big one. It's over there.
More than one. More
There
than
could be
one.
another one.
All right, guys. So sounds like in the middle of this crater there's some sort of spire. I think that might be a good place to at least check out.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll just move from there. So what do you guys say? We head out there?
Suppose so.
Go down this slope,
slide.
or does it look like there's a?
No, there's not like a set path or anything like that. It's just a scree, just this slope of debris, shale, like big pain in the butt. So Matashtai and Ashes begin to saunter down. I need both of you to roll me dexterity saving throws.
Okay.
Your DC
Oh.
is 14.
I want to go. I go too.
Dexterity
after
saving
you thought
throw,
it was a
DC
dex
14.
save.
I have a climbing speed.
Uh,
Yeah.
Dexterity saving throw, DC 14. You're not climbing
you-
down something.
I was gonna say,
you're-
if you get out of it with a climbing speed,
No.
a fucking
yeah,
spider.
you're not climbing
So-
down something.
No.
You're walking down
Okay, I
Like-
somehow failed
500,000 loose rocks.
with a plus 10.
How about I bumbled into you, so it's not of the fault of your own?
Fair enough.
No, whatever.
Mossy glides
Yeah.
through the earth.
No, I think
Mossy
his
does not
ego
care.
should get him. He's just like, I'm so good at everything, and he just walks off.
So
Ez-
at the edge, Ezra sits down,
I am extremely good at everything. Fuck off.
pulls out two pythons from his haversack, and slowly tries sliding down with the pittons to try and guide
Okay.
a safe.
Gotcha. All right.
Athletics
Uh,
check to hold you something out.
I mean, I'm trying
No.
something different. It happens.
Yeah. Roll me a strength saving throw at advantage.
6.
That's
So the consequences of sliding down this scree are not detriment or not cataclysmic, right? But there is a bit of a humble pie moment as Bones, Ashes, and Ezra all take 5 piercing damage as there's a couple of slips and stumbles, and in Ezra's case, just an inability to kind of like keep a a consistent speed.
He's just
So you
spinning
get a bunch
as
of like
he's
sharp
falling
rocks like stabbing into your knees, or in Ezra's
the-
case, his butt.
Ezra
You
just
know?
got really bad rope burn.
Yeah,
I'd like to
it's-
go in. I'd like to can he dodge by going into a roll?
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Horseshit,
You
Jerry.
want to
I
go
have
into
a
a roll?
climbing speed.
You want to go into a roll? You can double the damage dice if you would like to. You're gonna roll
that.
down the sharp scree.
I would like to half it,
No.
please.
Absolutely not.
Kind of look back at the crew.
And it's
We're
just
glad the Giants
it's just a
didn't see
couple
that,
of
guys.
cuts or pokes, you know. It's just like it's a realization, right, that there is dangerous terrain in this world that, sure, it's not that big of a deal for you adventurers, but if a commoner had just tumbled down that slope, they might
They'd
have
be
died,
dead.
right? Like you
Alright,
and there's this realization of like what you guys traverse and you take for granted. You're just like, oh shit.
I don't take it for granted. It
Well,
hurts
okay,
me.
okay. Ezra doesn't take it for granted, but you all make it down into the pit. And as you make it into the pit, you realize there's not one, but two Umber Hulk corpses down here. And you also realize, for clarity here, that those are the fresh corpses.
Oh, there's like a bunch of old ones.
There are dozens of sections of carapace, old shattered bones, ruined chunks of scale and hide. There's a lot of remains of dead things down here. Like a fairly big amount. But standing in the center of it
And beginning.
is this great black spire that just goes up, 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 and out of your vision. Ezra, as soon as you get down here and you see this spire, you get a little close, you feel this kind of vibration in your bones, and then you realize there is a humming coming from somewhere on your person.
Pull out the House Narketa.
It is not the House Narketa. It is the item that you got from Raynair.
A Hitachi wand?
The,
The fuck? What the fuck? Oh.
the wiring orb, the key to the castle. So before so once I identify that's what's creating the humming, I'm gonna pop down and I'm gonna cast Detect Magic
Okay,
ritual.
gotcha. You guys see Ezra drop down into a familiar stance, begins to incant, and you realize he is casting a ritual spell, one that you are familiar with as Detect Magic. So he's going to be a few minutes. What are you guys doing in the meantime?
I guess looking around.
I'm gonna light up the Lantern of Revealing.
Okay.
See if I can catch sneaky motherfuckers around me.
I think Zach's right. It's probably some bullshit that Halaster's doing that we're not going to be able to solve.
The
This
light
is some Halaster bullshit. This screamed like some Halaster bullshit.
light comes up, and it radiates out around you all. What else is happening?
I'm gonna just look around.
Okay.
I really have
Look around
both
like
tools.
the territory of the pit.
I mean, just look around, just walk around, take a gander,
Okay.
take a walk and think about some things,
Sure. Sounds good. Mossy kind of trails behind you, whereas and the unlike the rest of
just
the
kind of see what I see.
Yeah. Unlike the rest of the terrain that you've been walking through, right? This place is not super smooth. It's not just filled with debris, mind you, but it is bumpy, uneven. There's dips and little humps, little hills, and then there's the remains of a bunch of dead stuff. And then there's the little, like, rocks or boulders or things like that. It's not rubble strewn, but it's getting kind of cluttered. Mossy just kind of, like, glides through everything that isn't, or that is stone. He glides through, he goes around the bone and stuff like that, but he just glides through the boulders that you have to step around, and he just trails behind you, kind of, like, following in your wake. Okay. Had to take a second to think.
And then I'm just gonna turn. I'm gonna run at the spire and jump on it like a cat on a tree.
Okay.
You just jump through a prismatic wall.
Whew!
Well, I guess I'm dead then.
You hit, you contact solid surface, and you hear this as your claws begin to grind down on something, and you're about a foot away from the spire, hanging on
Lord.
nothing.
Can I attempt to scrabble up nothing?
You get maybe like 2 or 3 inches before the fact that there is no purchase. It's just sheer. And you slide back down to the ground.
I ask Mossy, I say, hey, can you get there? Can you go under?
Dips under.
You're thump.
Comes back up a second. After a second. On the same side as you. Goes down pretty deep.
The shield or the spire? No,
Both.
it's too deep.
Does the lantern make the shield show up?
Doesn't seem to.
Alright, well, we can't go under it. It's in Shawshank.
That was, this isn't Shawshank. Gotcha. Matashtai, what is your passive perception?
Let me double check here. I want to say 17.
Ashes, what is your passive perception?
Low. 15.
Yeah, 17.
Ezra, you have abysmal passive perception and you're distracted.
Also, distracted.
Mine's 20.
That's the problem. I'm distracted.
But you're busy. You're trying to climb up shielded spires right now.
I know, I just wanted everyone to know that mine was 20.
While there's a brief moment, right, where Bones' attempt kind of like draws the attention of everyone. Matashtai, Ashes, you're kind of like standing there near Ezra, right? The lantern's lit up. You're looking around, inspecting things, and then all of a sudden you hear this thud, and then this, and you're all like look over and you see Bones just kind of like slide down to the ground, and then Mossy disappears under the ground and comes back a few seconds later. So you're all kind of like watching that. Right after that happens, Matashtai and Ashes, you have this brief moment where you kind of like turn to look at each other. And out of the corner of your eyes, just to the south, at the very edge of the lantern's light, you see this flitting shape of vibrant color dart through the air and then gone.
Huh. Was there any shape to the thing, or do I just see color?
It was so fast and such a blur that mostly all you saw was color. It was in the air, so it definitely seemed to have wings, like there was some sort of body with wings. But other than that, you're not sure.
I'd like to play it off like I never saw it.
Ooh, okay. Roll me a performance or deception.
I'm pretty trash at both, so let's perform.
I was going to say.
All right.
Flash, you're neutral.
You kind of do
Trash.
that kind of like scenario where you're like,
Go ahead.
that
I
thing.
expect Ashes sees what he's doing because it's so transparent and does the same, and it's just as transparent.
No.
Just start whistling. Nice.
As I slowly roll
but I
toward a
do-
bolt.
I do take that moment to kind of speak into each person's mind and tell them that something flitted at the edge of the lantern. Did you say it was a specific color or multicolored?
It seemed to be
Give us more detail, Jeremy.
it seemed to be a couple of different colors. They tended to be very vibrant, but the primary color that you saw was, and you remember it because it was so strikingly vibrant, was violet.
Okay.
Damn it,
And
Jake.
the way you described it, I imagined a flying creature. Is that
Yeah.
Makes sense?
It was
Okay.
flitting through the air. It was right on the edge of your vision, just through
okay?
the air.
Now we
Final
do this
question:
motion.
medium, small, or tiny?
Thank you.
Not big at all.
Okay.
Smaller than you guys easily. Not itty bitty, right? Not the teensiest, tiniest thing in existence.
So probably not like a fairy, but like small.
Small.
Pixie. Probably
Small.
a pixie.
Okay.
Small.
Pixies are bigger than fairies?
I don't know.
I
Is
think
that
both of those are
canonical?
considered tiny.
I don't know. Maybe you got some really fat pixies to deal with.
You've just got fucking this enormous blob of a fairy, just like its wings struggling.
It's like the
Eating.
it's like the dumb comic Cupid kind of concept where he's like
Yeah.
just super fat but with the tiny wings.
He's a chunky monkey.
But yeah, so I share that with everybody. Damn, I wish I would have gotten away with my sneakiness.
Nice try.
Was it going north or was it going south?
South, I believe.
It was south of you. It was going from east to west. It just flitted from the southeast across the edge of the lantern's vision. And very apparently, for clarity here, very apparently you realize you only saw it when it entered into the edge of the
Yeah.
lantern's field of view, and
Damn,
then
this
it
thing was a
immediately
fucking-
disappeared when it went out the other side.
This thing was a fucking great pickup.
Like, fucking really? All of a sudden, like, damn.
Never realized.
Fucking 250 gold, best money I ever spent this campaign.
Holy shit. It's this is one of the things that I love about D&D. It's not like, oh, don't get me wrong, we love the epic items, the items that are cool and badass, but it's these little dinky, stupid items that make or break campaigns where you're like, oh shit, everyone jump into the bag of holding so I can gaseous form us through this fucking grating. You know, like... Anyways, so...
Ooh, there's a question. If you gaseous form everybody and then they go into the bag of holding...
They would go in first, and then you'd gaseous form.
Sure, but what if you had two people who could cast gaseous form?
I don't know. Do you
I don't
require
remember how
air
many
in
people
gaseous
can do
form?
gaseous... I don't remember how many people gaseous form does. But you don't have to worry about weight limit then, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. That would get into the real nitty-gritty of the wording of the spells, so potentially.
Or the
Well,
like wind
your
spell
items
that you
all-
Yeah, but I mean, if you can do that, why
Oh,
don't
with
you?
you.
Why doesn't everyone who's a gas just pass through the grate?
I don't know.
We're just theorizing stuff.
I was just curious about the weight limits of putting a bunch of people in a bag.
That's fair.
Well, a bag of holding, that doesn't impact at all. The bag
Just
always
wanna
weighs what the bag weighs.
Weaponize 2 bags of holding to just be able to mechanically put one inside the other.
Yeah,
on a
didn't you
command.
have it? Haven't you seen the what is
The
the
arrow?
arrow of
The arrow.
oblivion? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it up, y'all.
It's like a wrapped up portable hull and a bag of holding at the tip.
All right, so
Maybe when we have access that we can waste, then we can build that.
We have access now. We have
Fuck off.
mine and Matt's, and we have the one that we're gonna get from Mert that was meant for you, but is actually gonna be weaponized.
as Ezra spends some time to cast another ritual, and you all are searching around doing what you're doing, the moment resolves.
Did you forget to tick the tracker after the
I'm
last
not
roll?
ticking up the tracker for this type of stuff. So what I'm trying to do more frequently is roll the tracker, but not always increment the tracker. Incrementing is going to be for really long things, but just rolling is for like, oh, y'all are sitting around doing something, or oh, you're et cetera, et
So
cetera.
basically, every time you ritually cast, we're getting a roll.
It's definitely a possibility.
Oh,
Man,
I
I'm gonna start
hope you
using
like
spell
rolling.
slots.
Hope you like tabletop RPGs, because you're gonna be rolling a lot.
Oh, it's fun.
Or use spell slots.
So
Or keep doing what you're doing. It's
apparently
perfectly fine.
blunt trauma or blunt like unmagical damage does nothing to the shield, as I'm assuming that's how all these corpses came to be. You want to try like to magically damage the shield?
I'm gonna go over there with him. I'm like kind of trying to shove Tamakiri in the shield.
Okay. You touch the shield, right? And you're like, okay, here it is. Here it is. Right down the
Blam.
side of it.
Oh, okay. I thought that was it went in. I was like, what the fuck?
No. Super solid.
Tamakiri's
Like,
gone forever. Stuck in the shield.
you touch the tip and you realize this
Cry.
whatever this force field, whatever this shield, whatever this barrier is that it's slightly rounded around the spire. So like
Yeah.
your tip,
Just
the tip
slide
of the
off.
tier, like it just touches and then slides off.
Okay.
And it is about this time, Ezra, you finish your ritual. Detect magic goes up. And you just get, again, because you did this at the start of, or when you guys first came down here, you just get this palpable wave, just like, my god, overwhelming amount of magic in this place. Now, Undermountain period has this kind of like diffusion of magic all over. You guys are carrying magic items, etc., but not. We'll talk more about other stuff, but just the air, the stone underneath you, everything here is just suffused with magic. It is thick. It's almost cloying now that you can kind of like see it. Roll me an Arcana check. Your DC is relatively high, 23.
Ooh.
It's right there. It's kind of like on the tip of your
I'm
mind.
gonna go ahead and use my magical guidance.
Okay.
Allows me to make an ability check by burning a Sark point.
Okay.
Sort point.
Is it the 20 or is it the 24?
20. It's not
It's the
advantage.
20? Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So it's right there. It's like on the tip of your mind. There's a potential realization here that you're not quite getting. You got too much on your mind. You got too much going on. This place is inundated with magic, but more specifically, this thing is magic. There is a solid sheath of magic around the entire spire, just going up and out of your vision range, right? What's the range on detect magic?
30 feet.
30 feet? Okay, so even it's less range than your actual vision, but there's just this solid sheath of magic, of abjuration that surrounds the spire. But the spire itself, you can also see, is just it might be entirely made out of transmutation. You're not sure. There might be other actual physical components, or it might have just been that someone transmuted this spire into existence. Like FMA style.
How we get up there?
Coca-Cola.
And also, the
Son?
bauble that you have been given, right? It is radiating a magic that seems to be on the same wavelength as this spire.
And why though?
Ezra would first and foremost do a lap.
Okay. You do a quick lap around.
Probably not as close.
Well, you do a quick lap around.
He's 30 feet out. There's a little trouble seeing most of
Does
it over there, but-
he catch a blip on the perimeter?
No. Again, everywhere here is just deeply inundated with magic.
Yeah, just saying.
But there's nothing else that you just find. You don't feel anything else around in the pit that is just pinging magically.
Sounds good.
The spire is kind of all encompassing here.
Well, as somebody who has very little to do with magic, I am utterly useless in this situation.
You can't climb it. You can't climb it.
Your voice in
Sorry.
your mind,
Yeah, damn it.
Ash is saying, "Wow, that's so different from you." Never mind. Sorry, that was rude. I apologize.
Shit, but you're still here. Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
I like breathe on my
Wow.
fingers.
So it's
Kinda
gonna be
fucked
like
up.
that. All right. Touche.
Oof.
Fair.
Oof.
Very fair. Mhm.
Damn.
Okay. Okay. Or
Someone's
that
gonna
one.
find their weapon doesn't work all of a sudden in the middle of combat.
After I finish my lap, making sure there's nothing that stands out in the periphery of this tower, I
Alar, darkness. Okay.
gesture at the group
Can't see anything.
and bring to the forefront this item, this wiring orb that I was given. That is
Need
drumming.
context that. I'll remember what that is.
Yeah, I have no recollection of that.
So this was part of Rainier's drop off for me, along with the collection of
Calabash.
what's his nuts? Thank you. Calabash is the mage that we captured. They captured tracked down his mad ravings and jotted them down for me to investigate. That's my downtime activity, is going through that to try and find clues. They also gave me this key to the castle, this wiring orb, as a note denoting that this will help me find the next piece of my Asnarketa. And I account for the fact that this thing, as I approached, lit up.
Oh.
Do we investigate this Giant's Bane first, or do I try and play with this tower first?
Who knows
I mean,
if they're
do we
both
have-
connected? Might as
Do
well
you
just
have
do
like
this.
a dispel or any kind of like anti-magic?
I do not.
No, he doesn't have a magic hammer. He's made very sure.
Right. Okay.
We only have physical hammers, no magic hammers.
We could go look for our purple wisp.
How about we try and get up this tower, see what's up there. What if there's just a dude standing there?
How?
Just a dude
I don't
standing
know.
in there.
Oh,
I
in there.
approached
Oh, there's
the
an in there, huh,
tower
Jeremy?
With the
Interesting.
wiring orb out front and center, and try and
As you approach with the orb kind of front and center, it begins to lift out of your hand slightly, right? Not like aggressively or anything like that, but it begins to kind of like hover up out of your hand, and it begins to grow and glow, and very slowly it expands outwards and begins to push past you and encompass you. And it continues to grow and grow until it's about the space of 10 by 10 or so. And you find yourself in this transparent bubble. And you see these little wires of light begin to spiral up, and out of sight.
Where's Ezra going?
Now you're not moving anywhere or anything like that, but you're
Oh,
now
okay.
you now have this transparent bubble around you.
I look at everybody and say, maybe this is the key.
I get in the bubble.
And I begin to walk forward, assuming everyone is going to follow suit.
Sure.
Does everyone
we get
in
in the bubble?
You,
time
Can
I-
we do that?
you
If
step
we can do that, I'll
forward
do that.
and you just pass right through it, and then find yourself on the inside of the bubble with Ezra.
Well, we did it. Hey, everybody, let's go.
So you all kind of like group up within the bubble.
Grouping.
Booping.
Except Mossy. Bye, Mossy.
Mossy's
No, Mossy's coming.
Mossy's there. But Ezra,
never- never leave him behind
there's
again.
the wisping lights leading upwards, and you realize they're kind of like at the. There's not really corners because it's a bubble, but they're forming a square around the bubble.
Okay. I step forward.
Seems like
Well-
a complicated way to do this.
Well, there's no like stepping forward steps you out of the bubble.
Oh.
Will it to go up? Force it
I
with your
think-
mind palace.
I think enter.
Okay. The bubble begins to rise slowly, and you realize it is kind of in its expansion, it has sunk into the ground somewhat,
Gotcha.
right? So it's very slowly rising and then it begins to kind of like scoop your feet out from underneath all of you, right? As it begins to come up out of the ground. And it goes... And it seems stuck.
Probably because we're too fat. Everybody get in the bag of holding.
That's a callback.
I don't know if that's correct.
I think I alone would probably get close to making a bag burst.
I think.
I mean, I'll just step out of the orb. I'll move out.
Or maybe tell Mossy to step out.
No,
the
Mossy comes
giant
with me.
piece of rock.
Nope, Mossy's always with me, no matter what.
Well, then you and Mossy stay here.
Well, to tell you what, if you want to leave the lantern with me, I'll be on Violet Wisp duty.
Ashes steps out.
Okay, I just need to get this right. We're having a player character exit rather than an NPC Zorn.
Betray his trust ever again.
I just want to make sure that we're clear on that choice.
At this point, it shouldn't surprise you.
You blame Jeremy for this. I tried to leave him behind.
Ashes steps out. The bubble goes.
I'm emotionally compromised.
It still does not seem to be able to proceed.
Fine, I also get out. And Mossy too.
Okay. Ezrah and Matashtai very slowly begin to float up into the air. Very slowly. Like, it's a few inches a second, at most.
I should have drank the fizzy lifting drink.
How high up is this chamber?
You can't see, but you cannot see far enough up to see anything.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know.
Alright, Ezra, is this you and me, or...?
But it is now, I mean, it's only a few inches per second, but it is now to the point to where they're 5-10 feet up.
I don't know what we're getting into. I don't know. If
clap
this
on the
is
back.
the only way the key works, then
I clap him on the back. Only one way to find out.
Maybe it's a solo adventure for Ezra.
Why am I being brought then?
Or maybe your Zorn weighs a shit ton.
You caused this. This is the problem of your causing.
Sure, I'm fine with that.
You were both the solution and the problem here.
I just explain how things work.
Jeremy just wanted us to split the party. That's fine.
I just explain how things work.
It is split.
Okay.
Did you give the lantern to Ashes? Yes or no?
Yes.
Drop a rope when you get to the top.
If we are legitimately leaving people because we won't let the Zorn stay here, then yes, I left the lantern with Ashes.
Correct. Drop a rope when you get to the top.
How are you getting through the shield?
I assume it doesn't go up all the way. I don't know. Walk on it.
I think it was described several times as going up and up and up.
Okay, well, how do you know it doesn't taper?
Continue, Jeremy.
I don't know
Ezra,
why you're laughing. That seems very reasonable to me.
Ezra and Matashtai, alone in this dome of magic, slowly but surely ascend into the darkness above. Eventually, out of sight from Bones and Ashes. Ezra, Matashtai, the ground beneath you eventually falls away to darkness, and you can see no more. Even with Ashes holding on to the lantern. The height that you travel is difficult to determine because of that, but it's at least well over 150, 200 feet into the air as you continue up the side of this spire. And then, very strangely, you are outside of a door. The door of a castle. But the door is about 2 inches high, and the castle is maybe 4 feet tall, and it is resting on the tip, needle point of this spire, just hung in space.
So it does taper. Interesting.
You find yourself staring. The orb has stopped moving, and you find yourself staring at a miniature castle.
I kind of look at Ezra. I look back at the castle. I knock on the door.
As your hand moves out of the bubble, you have an incredibly strange experience as your hand leaves the bubble and shrinks to about the size of a toothpick.
You got a baby hand!
I got a baby hand!
As your hand reaches out as if to knock on the door of this castle
You know, baby handed
and
motherfucker.
miniaturizes.
Okay, I bring it back out. Does it get big again?
Normal size.
How close is the bubble to the castle?
It's basically flush.
Alright, fuck it. I jump to the door.
Throw the key back down to us.
Matashtai just kind of looks at you, Ezra, and grins, and then just jumps out of the bubble and onto the door sill, the threshold. And Matashtai, you have this weird warping sensation as you jump in through, and then you kind of feel this soft sway, and there's a moment of vertigo as you realize, oh, there's not a whole lot of fucking room on this ledge outside of this doorway, and that's a really long drop.
I hold the, I'm assuming there's a ring for the
There's
door.
a big ass ring on the door, and as you kind of you stand there for a second, there's a good 10 feet of space, right? But it was jumping onto it out of the dome is a very disorienting experience. So you have this kind of oh shit, there's not a light.
I was jumping onto a ledge this big.
Yeah, exactly, right? So now you're there and you're oh, and Ezra. You're Ezra looking at
I look back at him and I'm like,
Matashtai. And he's an inch tall. And he just...
I hold out my hand to him.
I point at... It looks like I'm pointing at you, but I'm pointing at the door. Open the door.
I turn and open the door. Or try to, at least.
Matashtai turns.
You just said something.
Matashtai turns.
I feel like if you talked, it'd just boom my ear. Oh god!
And
Oh, fuck.
as you turn to the door, right? You go to... There's not a door handle, but there is that big ring. You see attached to the underside of the ring is a little slate, right? Like a little classroom, chalkboard type thing, right? And there is a very kind of shaky scrawling across it in chalk. But I believe it is in a language that you do not speak. It says in words that you're like, these are words, I guess. It says, Otto Ulf Rilark.
I'll walk back out to the doorway. I can't read this shit! And I hold out my hand again.
You hear, probably hear in a very deep and resonant voice. Oh boy.
I like the idea of that.
Whereas I'm like, I can't read this shit!
And Ezra attempts to follow suit.
Step forward, or do you reach out and grasp his hand?
Is that an option?
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
Yeah,
he's holding out
100%.
his hand to you. You
That's
reach
a
out, right?
better
Like your
option.
hand goes through, and you clasp hands and step forward, and he tugs you forward, and there's this weird discombobulating feeling as you are miniaturized and find yourself standing on the threshold of a large door leading into this castle, and there's this big ring and a tiny slate or piece of chalkboard, right? And on it says Otto's Castle in Draconic.
Hey, I know that language. I relay and knock.
There is no immediate response. There's no
wait.
after response. After a minute or two passes, it's questionable whether there's going to be a response at all.
I reach for the door handle. And I pause for another 10 heartbeats.
Commit.
And I try to try to pull that boy open.
The door pulls open smoothly. You find past this doorway a very modest foyer, within which stand 4 white marble pedestals. Atop each of the pedestals is a quart flask of opaque green glass. You also see, rather strangely, 3 floating feather dusters and a broom just casually working around the room. You also notice one other very specific thing, and that is it is warm here. You feel a wash over your flesh, and a sudden takes you back. You realize just how cold you were getting. You blink a little bit. Almost feels like your mind is clearer, sharper suddenly.
I'm gonna take off my jacket. Kind of stuff it back in the bag of holding.
There is a doorway across the way to the north of you.
I turn back at the doorway and look at where the key was. Is it still a floating bubble?
The floating bubble just holding there.
I'm gonna reach out my hand and say, come. Or think, come.
Doesn't do anything.
He didn't say please.
Approach, retract. Come to me. I need
Bibbidi-bobbidi.
you. Don't leave me, please.
Bibbidi boppity into my pockety.
It hangs in the air.
Matt, I think at least it's staying there for our return trip, but it doesn't seem to want to. Last thing I try is, I think, down.
It slowly begins to descend
Why?
downwards.
I then, as I see it doing that, pull up parchment and begin scrawling on it, saying, think, enter, and don't
Joke's on you. I can't fucking read.
and get the bubble back
Cannon.
here.
Cannot read.
We will wait for you. And I throw the piece of parchment, attempting to get it in the bubble, but if it doesn't, it's just going to fall down where they are anyways. So.
The bubble is very slow, so it's pretty easy for you to bubble down, scrawl, rip, drop the paper into the bubble. You realize probably a good 15-minute trip or so. It might take a little
Wow.
bit. It's very slow.
I'm a patient person.
Matashtai and Ezrah find yourselves in this chamber.
I probably don't still have detect magic up if your math adds up then.
Yeah, no, you probably do not.
So then I would begin
Start it again? Yeah, absolutely. All right, cool.
I mean, we got the time to waste.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
More than
Ezra
that.
and Ashes,
Is your assumption that they're going to come up now after they did not come up before?
Yes.
Bones and Ashes.
Hello.
Matashtai and Ezra have been gone for quite some time.
Alright, well, goodbye forever.
What is it that you guys are doing in this interim?
So, I imagine I've got the bull lantern just on the floor, facing in front of me. I'm sitting on the ground, one leg out, one knee up, and I've got my hand crossbow loaded, and just go ahead and do this. Ignore. Why did I roll 2 dice? That's weird.
You right
Um,
up your
yes.
crossbow.
He's been furiously cutting himself.
He is waiting to kill something.
So, and I just had the righted bolt in my bow, and I'm just like resting and waiting to see if that thing comes back.
Okay.
The intention is, if it comes by, thwip.
Sure. Bones, what about you?
That sounds as good as a plan as any.
So you're
I'll just-
waiting with Ashes to thwip?
I also write up. I use ashes as blood.
There you go. That'll work. Okay.
I could definitely use your passive perception if it shows back up.
I'm
Just
perceiving hard.
Give me an elbow and I'll thwip. Thwip.
I'm perceiving harder than I ever
10.
perceived before.
15 minutes pass. 20 minutes. 25 minutes. And then, above you, you can see
But
slowly descending out of the darkness is that transparent bubble. Without Ezrah and Matashtai, but with a very clear piece of parchment
they're
hidden
dead.
within it.
Shame.
We've died.
It
Move
takes
on.
another solid 5 minutes before it actually makes it down to you. You just watch it very slowly, just... You do not see any sign of the previous creature or thing.
Alright.
And the bubble lands and stops. And
I'm
there's a
gonna
piece
keep
of
an eye
parchment
out.
inside it. What do you do?
What's that say?
Are you asking me or are you asking Bones?
Some bones.
I don't know. No, I look at it. It says, "We have died. Please move on. Bones gets all of my stuff."
How are
Yeah,
you going to get
tracks.
all of their stuff when they're dead and you're moving on?
They got stuff at the house.
Oh, fair enough.
Also, our shares in the house.
That's
It says that too.
Nice. Wow. Ashes and Bones, you guys made out like bandits.
Time to be done adventuring forever.
I feel like we can't trust Bones. He's starting to get a little ahead of himself now that he's got the heart of the mountain.
Look, bro, you wouldn't know that. You're not here.
No, we're having a
Yeah, I think-
conversation once I finish my ritual. This is a different conversation. That's fine.
Yeah, I think the only option is to kill him.
Probably a good choice, honestly.
Probably a good choice.
The way things are going.
Speaking of which, by the way, Ezra, while you are sitting there casting your ritual, you are not so much accosted, but as a stationary target,
I'm getting clean.
you are dusted.
I love it.
Twice.
I love every second of it. I approve.
Matashtai,
well, do
as
you-
long as you're mobile, you can avoid the feather dusters and broom.
Yeah, I'd like to not get hit by
I mean, they're not like running. They're not attacking you, but they're like if you just stand still, the feather dusters will come along and.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, am I dirty?
I mean, are you dirty? Maybe a little
When's the
dusty.
last
You've
time
been
you
traveling
bathed?
a little bit.
Dirty, dirty man, you.
I don't feel like I'm super dirty. I don't like it. I walk away.
Well, there you go.
All right, Bones. You want to see if you and Mossy can go up there?
Yes, all of us get in.
Well, all right. At least
All
we can
of
try
us.
It. All right, we three get in. I step out.
All right, get out, Ashes. All right, I'll get out.
I'll get in.
Okay, so you bring him back only to force me
wait.
to abandon him?
I'm
I
not
get in.
forcing anything.
And I think up.
No,
it goes up.
just Mossy was in it.
It's just Mossy. Mossy is too heavy for the bubble.
Jeremy, I don't like this.
If I. All right.
Just leave Mossy. Tell him you'll be
I
back
don't
soon.
want to betray his trust.
Put him in the bag of fucking holding then. God
No,
damn
he's
it.
definitely not going to do that.
Break
You would
that bag.
explode the bag of
It
holding.
is also way too heavy for the bag of holding. If he
Look,
could
all
go,
right,
if he could
whatever.
fit in
Yeah,
a
watch
bag of
the line.
holding, if he could fit in a bag of holding, this wouldn't be an issue right now.
Dude's like a
Okay.
half ton of rock.
Yeah,
Fine,
he's-
whatever. I tell Mossy, I'm like, hey Mossy, we got to go up there. The bubble doesn't work. I don't know what to tell you. Will you like keep watch?
Okay.
Okay, well now I'm not emotionally compromised. Let's
Wow,
go.
that went much
You
better.
only talked to him the first time.
You're using your words.
No, I refuse to go. He'll never trust me.
There's a very big difference between like, hey Mossy, hold up, we can't get you up here, versus, hey Mossy, I just didn't ask you to come with me.
No, I believe I specifically asked him to stay and watch the Skull Takers. Actually,
You did prior to you guys leaving to do the Xanathar stuff, I believe.
I didn't know I had to do it every time.
Well, again, like he said, right? It was a scenario of
They're
like
having a cut.
he thought when you guys were going up, he stays with the Skull Takers, but when you guys are going down,
Okay, well, whatever. I lose my sworn best friend again.
all right, you're gonna have to figure out a transport Mossy scenario for the future.
Yeah, Ezra is gonna need to learn the spell Fly.
I mean,
Or enlarge and whatever the fuck.
Juice.
at that point, I think it'd just be like, couldn't you just levitate him?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, levitate him. Do you know levitation?
Can you stop?
Oh, that's yes. Oh my god, look at his
Did
face.
you just get in the
No.
goddamn bubble?
I'm
Oh.
in the bubble. Fuck. God,
The
you're so
bubble. I assume the bubble's
Look
been
in.
going up for the last 5 minutes
Well,
now.
We have spent a half hour just trying to get your ass to leave Mossy.
Okay.
All
I
right,
didn't know it was that.
Mossy,
babies
Sorry.
Mossy
on-
waves
on-
goodbye as you go up in the bubble, and then sinks down into the ground.
Goodbye forever, sworn friend.
Jesus fuck.
All right. It is about 30 minutes after you guys arrive at the castle.
Is there anything that my detect magic has illuminated aside from the animated clingers?
Every fucking thing in this entire place.
I get that, but is there anything that stands out in
So-
this minimized castle?
And so there's an obvious two obvious things from a blanket standpoint. One is that, well, three obvious things from a blanket. Well, two and a half. One, much like the Spire, this whole place seems to be inundated with transmutation, like created from magic. Okay. And then obviously there is some enchantment going on with the diminution. All right. The third, the half, the not quite sure thing
It stands out.
is the distinct lack of what you were experiencing below.
The cold.
That diffusion or suffusion of magic within the land of the stone men, that doesn't exist here. Whatever that is.
Okay.
And then very obviously the animated objects are
objects.
animated objects. Yeah.
And then Ash.
Sorry, I apologize. I'm very wrong. It made me. I realized they're not. You when you cast it, you're like, but they're not animated objects, and you see the faint outline of invisible figures holding those.
Unseen servants that are
They
using them.
They are unseen servants
Oh,
that
I
are
love it.
using
I love
the
it.
objects. Yeah, they're not animated.
love
You when you said animated objects earlier, I was like, yeah, that's headcanon. And I was like, wait, whoa, no, that's not right. That's incorrect.
Well, and I also have unseen servants, so I would know
yeah, easy
the
peasy.
difference between the two of them. Yep. And then Matashtai and I have our little conversation about the susness that is Bones while we wait for them to hopefully
Kick him out the
arrive.
airlock. I mean, you guys actually kind of have an airlock right now. The
Oh,
bubble
you could.
The fall be if you
slowly
fell
rises.
I'm gonna make all my items from now on. If they die, they have some horrible curse. If I die, there's some horrible curse associated with it.
You
just-
set
Just make
yourself
it like
up
that
for
ring,
this.
so
You
if
keep
you die, anybody
threatening.
holding one of your
I love
items,
it.
their soul gets sucked up into the item.
Damn, that's sick. I'm gonna do that.
Why are you giving him ideas, Jay? Damn it.
Yay.
Because it's cool.
Because it is cool. All right.
I've
Ash,
decided
let's
my
look.
new
Rightful
Jeremy, my new
person in this
downtime
party,
activity
I
is
feel
I
like
destroy cursed items.
Oh, nice.
It's not a curse, it's a feature.
It's
No,
not a
destroy
bug, it's a
cursed items.
feature.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Very nice.
Lets you use the item forever.
Ashes, Bones, because
Hello.
you've been riding this bubble up for what seems like forever.
Still holding
sure
up the
have.
lantern looking for the purple wisp.
But eventually, the bubble stops, and you find yourself almost kind of like startlingly staring at a miniaturized castle with a little miniature door right up against the edge of the bubble.
Back
Is
to
there
the
any,
note,
like,
does it say anything about the castle?
Is there any sound associated with them arriving?
I assume that they're not like there's no like chime or anything like that. There's no like elevator ding dong. But Bones is the knight, but I'm assuming Ashes isn't.
Not anymore.
Well, he's
I used
also
to-
got
I
the
used to-
glowing
I
lantern.
wasn't
Oh yeah,
ever
yeah.
the knight.
I will say this: did you guys close the door behind you? Are you sitting in the foyer with the door closed, or is it
Well,
open?
we left it open. I left it open specifically because I was hoping that.
Then yeah, you see them. You see the light approach before you see them approach, and then you just
What'd
see
you
them
do with that
approach.
cloak of elven kind?
I'm
still
just
have
sitting
it?
on it. I offered it
Yeah.
to the party and nobody wanted it.
This is still
I walk
really
back out
good.
the door.
I don't have a slot. Also, I don't need
you have
double advantage
boots?
on
I
stealth.
was gonna say, don't you have boots of Elven
It's
kind?
got boots
Like-
of elven kind.
basically.
Yeah, but boots is like advantage, stealth, like sound. I think elven kind is specifically sight. The other one. Also, it would make me a dwarf elf cat.
Dwarf elk cat. Nice.
Did the boots not already do that?
I don't know. Do they?
Yeah, they give you advantage on stealth.
No, they do
both-
that.
They both give you advantage on stealth, but each of them does something in addition that is different.
In
You are
addition.
giving me a headache tonight.
Okay. Sorry.
So Ashes and Bones, you can very clearly see Ezrah and Matashtai in miniature form standing in this doorway.
I walk out and they're like, "Come on!"
What the fuck?
I hold
I
out
love
my
how
hand.
we're all
Actually,
just kind of like tripped out about this concept.
can I hold out my hand so where it becomes big?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whoa, whoa!
You can kind of like reach in, and then all of a sudden it's like teeny tiny. Oh my god, that's his big ass hand.
It's like Luffy.
It's a normal sized hand, Jeremy.
Is
Uh,
it? Headcanon. Matashtai has overly large hands.
You got big old mitts.
Matashta's
So he gets an extra dice scale up
Nope,
for his.
Absolutely not.
in fact, he gets disadvantage on dexterity checks.
I look at Ashes. Grab my hand. I pull him in.
Oh god!
Ashes does not shrink, slams into the side of the castle. The whole thing topples.
Damn,
It's
sick,
the whole
bro.
castle.
Oh shit!
Oh, that would be pretty fun. But no, he Ashes, you go through this actually not super weird for you scenario. You're kind of
Transformation.
accustomed to various transmutation. So you kind of just go, "Oh, I'm small." And then you're standing in the threshold of this doorway with Matashtai looking up at giant bones.
Come on in, Bones. The castle's
Go on in.
wonderful.
This is really weird.
There's a
my
very
I enter
weird
Kingdom Hearts.
morphing feeling as your body pushes and pulls and shrinks down. And then you guys kind of realize that it's getting a little crowded out here on this threshold. There's not a lot of room. And the castle seems motionless. But as you're out here on the edge of nothing, there is absolutely just this slight sway as it seems
on
the
the
castle is kind of just
air.
like slightly spinning on the needle point that is the top of the spire.
Wait,
It's
like
like the restaurant down.
rotating?
Not like rotating, but kind of like wobbling slightly,
Oh, okay.
you know?
That's only somewhat concerning.
Like in theory, if something like slapped it,
All right,
maybe it
I
would just
jumped up
fall
and
off.
down really hard.
Doesn't seem to matter.
Damn. All right. Well, I tried to topple the castle. All right, everyone, let's jump up and down at the same time.
Or let's just go figure out what's in here.
All right, whatever.
Does the orb stay levitated?
Yeah. Absolutely, it does.
Ezra leaves the door open.
We get some new music.
Ooh. Ominous castle music.
Ominous.
Train, ominous castle.
I give Matt his bullseye lantern back. I didn't see it.
Well,
I point out the
Right.
cleaning utensils and their purpose and function.
wait, when the lantern come in, do we see all of the specters wielding the?
You would.
Absolutely, you do.
Yeah. All right, I clipped that on my belt.
You point out the purpose. I know the purpose of a duster, Ezra.
I meant
This is used to clean Bones. Try it sometime.
ooh.
I
We've
didn't know
seen-
today was be hurtful to Bones in his best friend day.
We've seen your room.
Not my room.
Oh, you're gonna blame the dead turtle on your room?
No.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah.
That is absolutely what it sounded like.
Definitely.
All right.
Uh,
All right, ashes and bones get deposited down here to this.
the dead turtle.
And I point to the door and say,
It got deleted.
are we ready to proceed?
Oh, I'm still on the other map.
No, you're not.
You're on this map. It's all one map. You're just in a different place.
Oh, I've got to
Yep.
All
Zoom
the
out.
bottom.
zoom out.
All right. I walk towards the door.
Where you go? EK.
Ikazo.
I try. I mean, I tried on the main door, but I'll try on this one too. Knock, knock, knock.
There's no response.
All right. I kind of ease the door open. Hello.
You ease open the door, and you see
Guys, it says Otto's Castle. It says, did you guys know that? It says Otto's Castle in Dragon.
Yep. We
I
already-
speak Dragon too,
Proud of you.
and read it. I'm literate.
Proud of you.
I'll say, Bones. I'm pretty sure you told me you couldn't read at one point.
Yeah, but
pretty
I
sure
can
you said
only
that.
read certain things.
Ah.
Dragon.
I can only read languages I know.
only specifically when I feel like it.
You crack the door open, and you find yourself staring out what seems like a ghost castle.
No, don't say that. I'm not
Ghost
okay with it.
Castle.
Welcome to Halloween. This is Halloween.
The walls, floor, and ceiling here are all made from a smooth gray stone. It almost looks liquid texture. Quiet. Very quiet. It's warm here. Pleasantly warm. Comfortingly warm.
Presently.
Call out, Matashtai. Hello? Hear your voice echo down the hallways. No response. Peek your head out, looking a little further. And you find, aside from the smooth gray stone, embedded into the walls are beautifully colored glass blocks that radiate warm light. The halls remain empty. No one comes to greet you.
You pull out the Husner Ketta. Take a moment to focus on it, see if it's reacting at all, but don't spend long in the process.
You feel
Ritually attunes.
I'm already attuned to it, so.
No, it's just a joke.
you feel the slightest current of electricity spark between it and you. Not an unpleasant feeling for you, one you're very familiar with. There's something somewhere. Not sure where.
Ezra steps into the next room.
I think that is where we will pick up next week. As the party has found their way through the land of the stone men, and up a strange magical spire to a miniaturized castle. You were looking for a castle, but not Otto's castle.
Madgoth.
Oh,
Castle's a castle.
we'll figure out
Dueling castles.
perhaps what is going on next time on Dungeon of the Mad Mage. For watching, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye forever.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.